Also want to talk about the offsets. F major 7th, treble clef. When we're looking at just mighty clefs right here, F major 7th, if you just learn this, when you look at the easiest example would be the bass clef, would be A, C, E, G. If you pretend that's a treble clef and just add 2 to each note, the bottom note is F, add 2 to it and you get an A. Okay, where the C is, add 2 to that and you get an E. You see, you can look at the bass clef and just add 2 to each note, pretending it's the treble clef, but add 2 to it, and you get the note that it is on the bass clef. That's what the offsets are, the offsets. Upper treble, okay, upper treble, that's way up above this. You could still split it up into those 4 notes. Look at the F, add 1, and you get the G. Let's see what the, now we're always on these charts able to go verify. We're able to verify upper treble, okay? So here's upper treble right here. Here's your treble clef, all right? Now, you're going to add 1. So if this is the upper treble clef, we just add 1 to E and we get F. Look at that, a half step adding got to this, get the formula worked for a half step or a whole step. We're just adding 1 scale step. That's the way the staff is set up. You don't see any sharps and flats on this. Yet it's in this key of C, so it works. For instance, you add 1 to this C here, and you're going to get a D. The second one down here is a D. See, that's a whole step advance. It's still just add 1 scale step. That's the most important thing to remember there. So I looked at this and I didn't like the shapes of these guys. Longs and shorts mixed together, you know, just to satisfy having modal clefs, where these are perfect modals. Root to root modal mixolydian, root to root modal Lydian. Okay, we had that, but we had to incorporate long shapes into that. Okay, so we have long shapes that are incorporated into that. Let's go ahead one chart here to 517. We're getting closer, getting warmer here. So we have long shapes incorporated into it, and I decided I didn't like long shapes. I don't want to have long shapes. I know I'm going to need them. And I want the option to do long or short shapes. Because you can do, let's face it, let's look at the an F major scale. We can do it in long shapes, or we can do it in short shapes. Now in this case, we have to start on 4 here and just go. If we start on 4 here, we're going to get a Lydian, but we're going to start on root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4. There's your F sharp, your B flat. 4, 5, 6, 7, root. So we can do it in long or short. Okay, so that F short scale would be root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root. One more time. We're going to start with 7 root 2, right? 7 root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 root 2. That's the short. I just did it in the Locrian expansion downward, right? Instead of doing it starting from the G, because starting from the F, because if we're starting from the F, we're going to do the long one. Root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root. F, right there, the white note. Sorry, that probably took a lot of editing. Or if you can put up with my mistakes, we don't have to put up with the editing. And the files will be even smaller, believe it or not. the without editing, the video will be longer and the files will be smaller. So what do you think we should do? Yeah, it's a toss-up. Some things have to be edited out. I enjoy editing if I have the time. So here I've divided it into two. The only problem with this, and now what are we doing? Instead of doing a modal scale, which would be G to G right here, I'm doing 4C, E, and C. 4C over here, 4C, put me over here a minute. Here 4C, E, and C on the lower bass clef would be, here's 4C, 4, 5, 6, sorry about the suppressed 4 because it's looking at pentatonic. We wouldn't play the 4th or the 7th. I fixed that in the next charts, so for the discussion. 4C is 4, 5, 6, E is 7 root 2, and C is 3, 4, 5. So we would end on the 5th of C is G. We would start on the 4th of C, which is F. And it's a triple string shape defined lower bass clef there, and the other ones follow through, and these have long and short string shapes mixed. Now in this particular chart, I did it only on piano. I didn't see it said piano here. I didn't do it on, I didn't have time to go to the extended guitar fretboard here and do it. The interesting thing about this one is an older chart. I have the roots drawn out really good. So here's your roots. If you like the root and root -1 and -2 instead of root, upper root, which is UR, upper C is UC, root is C, root C guitar, root C piano. Way up C. This is root +2, root +1, root -1, root -2. Way low C, middle C, upper C, way up C. Now up here is super way up C, which, whoopsie, but we didn't, that was like a blooper there. We didn't, we're not doing that here. We're not extending the upper treble yet, but we can use that extension. You know, we can use that. There'll be some overlap though between treble clef and upper clevel if we start extending it too much, depending on how you want to break it up. So here we have, okay, here we have the long string shapes, the long pattern right here. It's actually a hybrid pattern I'm showing, but we're pretty much doing the long into the shorts. In this particular scheme, we're not adding the 5, 6, so the 12 key hybrid stack, notice there's 13 here because we have 5, 6 repeated here, but this is a 12 key stack. But here we're not using the short 5, 6. Okay, so in this particular staff, segmented staff right here. So here we have the bass and the treble clef. Let's move on to the next one. Again, this is how this one's broken up with the long string shapes. We'll just do one of them, lower treble. So lower treble clef is D, 5A, R, E. Okay, so first we look, where's middle C? Right here, middle C. And then we have, I didn't do the guitar on this one, so we're not going to play the guitar on this one. We're going to do keyboard. So it would be, here's middle C. We're going to have a D, a 5A, and an RE. D is 2, 3, 4. 5A is 5, 6, 7. And RE is root 2, 3. So this is obviously the RE. So it starts here and it goes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3. So that's the lower treble clef definition there. That's where that is. I didn't find those on the keyboard because I wasn't happy with the long shapes. So now with today's, practically to today's, this chart is 518, 6 individual clef boards. Let's see how they're split up. we're still at 9 notes each, so we're still at the long string shapes mixed, but it's not 12 key. But it's not necessary to do 12 key right now. We don't always need the infinite case. It's not like calculus. Let's go from 0 to infinity. We're going to have definite limits here, what we're looking at. Or we just got a whole bunch of fretboard that we're not going to be using. Well, this could be like a cello or a bass fiddle zone. That's fine. But on guitar, it doesn't seem like the clefs aren't going to use it unless we extend the upper and the lower clefs. Then they'll be way up here, and we would have to extend this thing again. Okay, we're down here with the F4. We're up here with the 5 is likely up here. I think we can go, you know, all the way 94 keys as we go around in that circle. What circle was that? The circle of the 94 staff notes and chords. So if we want to go around forming a diatonic type scale, we'd go through all these and we'd get all the way around, say starting on F major 7th, then to G7, then to A major 7th, then to B. So if we jump into this thing here at this G, okay, then we go to A minor, then we go to B, half diminished 7th, then we go to C, then we go to D minor, and then to E minor. My piano doesn't do that. I could, you know, I could transpose the octave up. That going all the way around is the 94 key concept. All right, now at this point I've split the fretboards. Here's our reference fretboard up here. This I found I definitely needed because as I added these shapes here, so you can see upper treble doesn't really cover that much. Treble itself starts here and marches down. We want that marching down. These are the 3 shapes there. Lower treble starts up here. Because it's kind of lower treble, you know, and it marches across the fretboard. Comes on, takes on a few different shapes, C long, G long shape. These shapes I'm just starting to get into, but I haven't settled into how I want to break up the staffs. So I'm not going to be labeling these, but over here in treble clef right here, let's just look at this. So here's our fret nut. Here's where your fret nut is. And the treble clef up here, all the way up here in this D box, with my sorry down tuned C, the D box is all the way up here already. Not even on the map with a full treble, clef there. See, this is the lower part of the treble clef coming in. These are important. These are actual notes on that treble clef. So these are actuals. You don't move these around. Oh, C, G, D. Hey, there's another C. There's a G.